the Washington Redskins, I don't know who the head coach is. I don't know if you know him at all, but the Redskins are picking 5th.
It's hard to believe they're picking in the first round. I can't remember that. It's been a long time. They gave up an awful lot to get Robert Griffin. 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick. They need to get some players on the offensive line. They need help in the secondary. They need another pass rusher. I would be surprised a little bit if they don't trade back in this draft to accumulate some more picks. I'm sure new general manager Scott McCloughan is trying to accumulate more picks to try to get more players on this roster, Mel.
He made a lot of moves in free agency. You think about bringing additions in on a D-line. Leonard Williams is sitting there, but you've added a lot of pieces. You're thinking about Brandon Scherff, who I think would be a real nice addition to help out RG3. But if you can move back and still get a Brandon Scherff, that's probably a good move. And you're going to get offers coming in for this 5th pick. So some really good players teams may want to jump up to get. You think about the wide receiver, Kevin White out of West Virginia being one. Some offensive linemen, obviously, even behind Scherff. There are possibilities. Eric Flowers is hot right now, but this has always been a pick you thought could be moved. But if I'm the Redskins and I'm making a pick, Leonard Williams is a great football player, and Brandon Scherff, 2 guys in the trenches that can get it done.
Well, they were 4-12 last year. They did beat Dallas. They did beat Philadelphia. But in the end, here they are drafting 5th overall. But as you say, John, it's a first-round pick, which, I mean, this is the history of the team. What do they do with this rare opportunity? Here's the commission.
With the 5th pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Brandon Scherff, tackle, Iowa.
Why, he just looks like one of those Iowa linemen. You know, that to come in, he looks mean. He can play a bunch of positions up there. And so his versatility and his pro readiness, if that's the right word, to come from Iowa. You like this pick for, I think you know the coach, your brother?
This pick makes me want to coach again, Lewis.
Nice.
He is a physical, nasty tone setter. And new offensive line coach Bill Callahan, who comes to the Redskins from Dallas, took a guy like this last year in Dallas in Zach Martin. But Scherff is a physical tone setter. He can wear you out as a run blocker. And with Alfred Morris running that zone stretch scheme, expect the Redskins to run it to the left. And I know Jay Gruden a little bit. He wants to bring back some of the history of the Washington Redskins. And if you want to do that, you got to have the Hawks, man. And Brandon Scherff, a very complete offensive tackle at Iowa that has been well trained by Kirk Ferentz, will bring something to the Redskins that they haven't had in a long time, Mel.
I'll tell you what, talk about an athlete. Quarterback as a sophomore. He threw for 1,200 yards in high school. Was a punter, offensive lineman, defensive lineman his final 2 seasons. Baseball, track, shot put, discus, done it all. You think about 6'4 and a half, 320. You can say, well, his arms aren't that long. They're long enough. He's got huge hands, mean, nasty finishes, tremendous run blocker. And I think he's got pretty good feet. I think he's underrated in pass protection. And John, you made this point year after year. Lewis, we talked about it. Not a lot of great left tackles in this league. That's the misnomer. I think there's 20 great left tackles. You'd be hard-pressed to find 5. And Brandon Scherff, I think, can be a left tackle. At worst, a right tackle. This kid can play the tackle spot. He's not pigeonholed into being a guard automatically.
Yeah, and in a draft here where we're talking about character left and right when it comes to players, this is another guy whose character is platinum. It's A+. When you think about the fact that you plug him in over on the left side, let's just assume they put him there with Trent Williams. That's a nasty left offensive line side right there. And the last thing I'll say about this speaks to Scott McCloughan. This is the best player available, going true to your board, despite the fact that, hey, you don't usually pick guys who are tackles who may convert to guard this high up in the draft, but this is staying true to your board. This is why they hired Scott McCloughan. This is why he needed to be in charge there. Great pick for the Redskins.
Well, Mel, you mentioned he was a quarterback in high school. Now, I mean, I think we ought to reiterate, there's a great story in Denison, Iowa, of why he didn't finish up his high school career as quarterback, because he was like 280, 290, and the center was 190. And the coach was afraid on a quarterback sneak, he was going to clobber his own center. And we can't have our quarterback outweigh our center by 100 pounds. So he went onto the offensive line, and the rest is history. And now he is a Redskin.